KP Video News. It's KP Video News, y'all.
That's right, it's KP's Video News. And this story here comes on the heels of the 99th anniversary of the massacre, the Black Wall Street massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it's really, truly a bad, extremely bad timing, and it might be calculated. I'm thinking it's probably calculated, and it's definitely a disgrace, a total disgrace. And black Tulsans called Trump's rally plan a slap in the face. Black community and political leaders called on President Donald Trump to at least change the Juneteenth date for a rally, kicking off his return to public campaign, saying today, that plans for a rally on the day that marks the end of slavery in America is a slap in the face. Tulsa campaign officials discussed in advance the possible reaction to the Juneteenth date, but despite fierce blowbacks, there are no plans to change it. Senator Kamala Harris of California said black leaders said it was offensive for Trump to pick that day, June 19th, and that place, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the city that in 1921 was the site of a fiery and orchestrated white-on-black killing spree. This isn't just a wink to white supremacists. He's throwing a welcome home party. Harris, a leading contender to be Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden's running mate, tweeted of Trump's rally plans. To choose the date to come to Tulsa is totally disrespectful and a slap in the face to even happen, said Sherry Gamble Smith, president of Tulsa's Black Wall Street Chamber of Commerce, an organization named after the prosperous black community that white Oklahomans burned down in the 1921 attack. At a minimum, Gamble said the campaign should change it to Saturday the 20th if they're going to have it. Trump announced the rally plan Wednesday afternoon. It comes as his harsh law and order stance appears to fall increasingly out of sync with the growing concern over police abuse of African Americans after the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. And this is what the Trump campaign officials said. As part of Lincoln, Republicans are proud of the history of Juneteenth, said Katrina Pearson, senior advisor to the Trump campaign. Trump has built a record of success for black Americans, including unprecedented low unemployment prior to the global pandemic, at all-time high funding of historical black colleges, blah, 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 blah. The Trump campaign was aware in advance that the date of the president's return to rallies was Juneteenth, according to two campaign officials who were not authorized to speak publicly about internal discussions and spoke on conditions of anonymity. When the date was discussed, it was noted that Biden had held a fundraiser a year ago on Juneteenth. Though choosing June 19th was not meant to be incendiary, some blowback was expected, the official said, but the campaign was caught off guard by the intensity, particularly when some linked the selection to the 1921 massacre. Scheduling the highly anticipated comeback rally in Oklahoma State Trump easily won in 2016 raised eyebrows. The campaign picked Tulsa's BOK Center with a listed seat capacity of 19,000 people. The arena's Facebook page shows organizers calling off shows there by country singer Alan Jackson and other performers into mid-July, citing the coronavirus pandemic. Arena marketing director Megan Blood said Thursday she didn't know yet about any plans for social distancing or other coronavirus precautions for Trump's rally, which would be one of the largest public gatherings in the U.S. at this stage of the outbreak. Campaign officials said safety decisions would be made in coordination with local authorities. A disclaimer on the ticket registration website said attendees voluntarily assumed all risks related to exposure to COVID-19 and agreed not to hold the campaign liable for any illness. Wow. The campaign official said the Trump campaign picked Oklahoma because arrangements could be made quickly for a variety of reasons. Oklahoma has a Republican, Trump-friendly governor. The state is not seeing huge numbers of coronavirus cases, and the arena was turnkey and could easily be open for the rally. Moreover, the rally would be held up the turnpike from a district held by Kendra Horn, one of the Democrats the GOP feels is vulnerable this fall. Campaign officials also wanted to hold a rally where they could all but guarantee a big crowd despite coronavirus concerns, according to the officials. Oklahoma is one of the most Republican states in the nation, and Trump has not held a rally there as president, so it will likely deliver an enthusiastic audience eager to see him, the officials believe. Tulsa, an oil center, along with Arkansas River, has had its own marches, viral videos, and problematic police actions during the month's unrest. On Tuesday, police released video and said they were investigating officers who handcuffed and arrested 2 black teenagers for jaywalking. The video of the June 4th incident showed officers pin one of the 2 unidentified teens' stomach down to the ground. "Get off me, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe," one teen shouts. And I'm going to do that story next. This is totally ridiculous, man. It's totally ridiculous, and this person is totally ridiculous. We know now when it comes down to it, you're talking about having basically a Trump Klan rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the site of the 1921 massacre, Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, on Juneteenth of all days. Now, this is going to be a predominantly, you might as well say a completely all white racist rally on Juneteenth. What could you possibly have to say at this rally that's so important that you can't change it to another, at least change it to another day? This guy is totally disrespectful, and wow, he deserves to lose by a complete and total landslide come November. And here's a story here that I was just talking about. Tulsa police released video of officers arresting black teens for allegedly jaywalking. Authorities in Tulsa, Oklahoma released footage on Tuesday showing 2 white officers handcuffing and arresting black teenagers they accused of jaywalking. Police said internal investigation had been launched about the incident. The 2 officers' body camera footage shows the policemen detaining 2 black teens seen walking in the middle of the street last Thursday evening, the police department said. Both videos last around 21 minutes and show at least one policeman pushing a teen onto the ground while he struggles and is handcuffed. The footage from one officer shows the beginning of the arrest as he walks up behind one of the 2 and immediately grabs his arms to restrain him and place him in handcuffs while the unidentified teenager objects to the arrest. The 2 teens can be heard asking why they were being detained, and officers tell them they were breaking the law and jaywalking. After struggling with the officers, one of the teenagers is placed into the police vehicle while his friends tell them, "Chill out, it's not worth it." The Tulsa police said they released the footage out of the continued effort to be transparent with our community, and that this arrest is also under investigation by the Internal Affairs Unit. The Hill has reached out to Tulsa police to request records of the arrest. The released footage came the same day Tulsa Major Travis Yates made a controversial comment that prompted swift pushback from the Mayor Bynum, amid ongoing conversation about police brutality and racial inequality. By the way, all the research on this says we're shooting African Americans about 24% less than we probably ought to be based on the crimes being committed. Wow. And that's what the chief of police said. That's what the police major Travis Yates said on a radio station the other day. Wow. This is ridiculous. He also voiced disapproval of the arrest involving the 2 teens, saying, "I want every kid in Tulsa to feel safe to walk down the street in their neighborhood. No Tulsa kid should have to be feared of being tackled and cuffed for walking down the street." The arrest comes amid sky-high tensions between city police forces and the communities they serve. Lawmakers on both parties are working on legislation to reform police departments nationwide amid massive protests following the death of George Floyd, who died in Minneapolis police custody. And This isn't just a wink to white supremacists. He's throwing them a welcome party, Kamala Harris said, pointed out the rally that's going to be held, that he's scheduling to hold on Juneteenth, a holiday that marks the end of slavery in the United States. Wow, man, this Tulsa, Oklahoma, man. Tulsa, Oklahoma. And California, I was talking about this story yesterday, so I'm going to give you the whole story. California Assembly on Wednesday decided to let voters choose whether to overturn the state's 24-year-old ban of affirmative action programs, capping an emotional hours-long debate in the legislature that highlighted tensions between the state's Asian and black communities. The proposal amended the state's constitution, which still must pass the Senate and be approved by voters, would repeal a 1996 amendment that banned preferential treatment based on race, sex, color, ethnicity, and national origin. The push has gotten a boost recently from the worldwide protests over racial injustice and police brutality prompted by the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. But the repeal efforts face strong organized opposition from many of the state's Asian community, who fear it would make it harder for them to gain admission to the state's prestigious public universities, where students of Asian descent have been overrepresented. Democratic Assemblyman Evan Lowe, who is of Chinese descent and shares an apartment with his police officer brother in Silicon Valley, said sitting elected officials in the district have asked him things like, "Why are you voting against your own people?" He said his office received more than 3,000 emails and phone calls opposing the repeal, compared to just 9 in support. Lowe said that tension in the community spread over the legislature, noting that no one from the Asian and Pacific Islander caucus signed on as co-author of the repeal. Wednesday, Lowe called out the Assembly Black Caucus for not contacting him to ask him for his vote or even just talk about the issue. What am I to do even without even having the decency of a conversation to discuss the difficulties of race? Lowe asked his colleagues on Wednesday. If we can't even have these tough conversations, what do you think is going to happen to the electorate? Lowe eventually did vote for the repeal, telling the Associated Press in the interview he voted yes because of his commitment to social justice and his belief that injustice to one is injustice to all. But he acknowledged it would likely hurt him politically, saying office has received calls from his constituents threatening to recall him from office. Lowe added that he did not run office for self-preservation. How do you go to a Black Lives Matter rally and say, yes, I'm with you, but then all of a sudden say, oh, well, not here, not that part, Lowe said. Assemblywoman Shirley Weber, who authored the repeal, apologized on the assembly floor just before the vote for not contacting lawmakers individually. She said the physical distancing requirements because of the coronavirus and the legislature's shortened session made it difficult to do that. I was so grateful I didn't have to convince you that racism is real because George Floyd did that. So that was one conversation I didn't have to have on this issue. Assemblyman David Chu said not everyone in the Asian community opposed the repeal, saying over 100 organizations and community leaders represented hundreds of thousands of Asian Americans support this measure. Not everyone was convinced. Stephen Choi, a Republican from Irvine who was born in South Korea, said he opposed the measure because it would legalize racism and sexism. I do not want to live in a state where the color of my skin or my race or my sex or my national origin determines my qualifications for a position or job entering in college. Said I came here to this country to get away from ideologies like that. The assembly voted 58-9 to let voters decide whether to repeal the amendment, and the state Senate concurs by June 25th. The question would be added to the November ballot, further intensifying an election year that already includes a presidential contest. Since the 1996 amendment, at least 7 other states have adopted similar policies. This is not the same California that voted 25 years ago, said Miguel Santiago, a Democrat from Los Angeles. Hispanics surpassed whites in 2015 as the state's largest ethnic group. That's California. As of 2019, Asians account for 15% of the state's population, while African Americans make up 6.5%. At the University of California system, Asians account for 30% of the undergraduate and graduate student population, followed by whites at 24%, Hispanics at 22%, and blacks at 4%. California State University, the largest four-year public university with 23 campuses and 482,000 students. So they, let me say that again, the Asian population makes up 15%. Asians make up 15% of the state's population, but they make up 30% of the undergraduate and graduate student population in college. And so basically, you do the math. That's twice. They have twice the amount of people going to college than they do, you know, as they do as compared to the population rating. So we're going to see how that works out. We'll see how that works out, and it's going to the California State Senate, and we're going to see how that's going to work. Okay, folks, this is KP Video News. Stay tuned, and I'm gonna have to do a follow-up on this, man. Hopefully we might get, you know, well, no, I'm not gonna have no hope, because I ain't gonna have no hope for Trump at all. No point in even saying that. Hope and the word Trump in the same sentence, man, is definitely an oxymoron. Excuse me for even saying that.
KP Video News. KP Video News, y'all.
Peace.